Real life, real stories. Let's see what's trending in Indianapolis. This is Paul Poteet on The Edge.
You all love that jam.
We really do.
That's my jam.
Every week.
I'm gonna make that his
that
ringtone. That's the new Paul Poteet ringtone. He's just gonna
That's all that's on my iPod. There's that, and all of the stuff on the iPod from the one cute Jonas brother. That's the only one I follow still.
Okay. Well, there's that.
The truth comes out.
Good afternoon, Paul. How are you doing today?
How you doing, everybody?
We're good.
I'm fine. Good. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't like the way November has started so far.
Oh my Lord, we went down in a heartbeat, didn't we?
You got to admire a month that just literally spits at you when it arrives. Just you walk out the door to go to work in the morning and it's just spitting from the sky. Hello, I'm November. That kind of thing. So other than that, I'm fine.
Excellent. Well, you look good. You look perky.
Kind of like the young Jonas.
Exactly. See?
Would you say that? Would I look like the cute one, Brittany?
Or? Of course.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe if we merged it with Mr. Bean.
You have to. My teen idol, universe stretches all the way back to I can remember from. Well, I guess do the Beatles count for boy bands?
I guess if you
because they were boys, right, at the time.
Yep.
So I go back to I got the Partridge Family somewhere in my head too. And
we could have a really great jam session. Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Oh my gosh! When I first got to ZPL, we were still playing Bop. So I mean, if you want me to drag out some of my Hanson, mixtapes, I'll do that right after.
Could we have Hanson today as an introduction song? I mean, that'd be
Bop, 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 Bop. Those lyrics are all at the bottom of the screen right now. If you can't see them, they're on our website. So search. edgeofindy.com.
Hanson needs a reboot. They really do. I mean,
they're still doing stuff. They've got a bunch of kids now. I think they have like 8 kids each.
Oh my God.
At least one of them I know has a pretty large family already. I don't know if they're all married or what, but I haven't kept up with them.
And then they all have blonde hairs, kind of like Children of the Corn, pop culture.
I was going to tweet them and tell them to watch this, and now I can't because you mentioned Children of the Corn.
I liked Bop. I don't remember any of the other songs, but it was okay. I've heard worse.
I'm sure you have, and
yeah, right.
I think we do need to probably make a segment of the worst things that Paul has heard. Just to kind of wrap.
Well, unfortunately, sometimes I've heard them in the headphones and they've been coming out of my mouth. So that's a problem right there. Sometimes it's entirely me that has caused them.
So what keeps you on the edge this week, Paul?
Well, I have found a couple of places that you don't want to be. I've found 2 places you don't want to be and 1 place you want to be. How about that?
Okay.
All right, okay. We'll put off the good place for a little bit longer here, kind of like life.
Oh my gosh,
that was pretty deep.
I really was. Yeah,
you have to put off the good place for like 70, 80 years. How many months would that be? Do you suppose that we all live?
Oh, our producer, our producer actually referred right before we went on show here that the average lifespan is 30,000 days. Is that?
See, people, this is what they talk about in the breaks right before me to get me pumped for the show, for the segment.
It's like, okay, that's motivated.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll get to where you want to be in just a few moments.
Roger that.
Now, wait a minute, though. Maybe this is where you want to be if you really like beer.
I think so.
Maybe maybe I've got it all wrong because this guy, 38-year-old guy from Wisconsin. Now, Mrs. Poteet is a native of Hurley, Wisconsin.
Roger.
All my in-laws are up there. Nothing about this story surprises me. 38-year-old dude goes into the Quick Trip, and it's a fun store because they spell quick with a K.
Oh yeah,
Kwik Trip.
Yep.
Goes in there to buy some beer. Became trapped inside the walk-in cooler.
Hold on. Flag on the play.
Please go ahead, please.
So, how do you get trapped in the walk-in cooler with a store that's open?
It's written kind of a passive way. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, oh, he just became trapped. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and they're not even closed yet. It says about 11:50. Mm-hmm. Rather than bang on the glass door to be let out.
He drank.
he decided, he'd spend the night inside a place where the temperature is 32 degrees.
Okay.
I mean, you drink through it. That's what we've all learned. You drink through it.
They found him the next morning when they came in to open up.
And he was great.
And he wasn't so passed out that he couldn't run, because he apparently dashed out of the store, drink and dash, left the store without paying for what he drank. Now, get a load of this. An 18-ounce bottle of beer.
Okay.
3 cans of malt liquor.
Okay. Yes.
2 turtle doves and a palm tree. Merry Christmas, by the way. It's November. So he drank the bottle of beer, big bottle of beer, 3 cans of malt liquor, and also fell over a stack of 30-can beer packs.
Oh, my Lord.
Breaking 3 cases open. So for all practical purposes, he went through, over 3 cases of inventory.
Up and through. Yeah.
Yeah, literally. And was issued a misdemeanor citation for retail theft. Now,
so how does antifreeze actually work into this particular story? Because, I mean, is he actually consuming enough to keep him? I mean, he's at 32 degrees, right?
That's pretty chilly. I mean,
real chilly.
I don't know, I should have looked and seen what the weather was outside there on that particular day. But does he have a jacket on? I mean, if it's 50 degrees and you're wearing a little light thing outside and you come in and, camp out in there, did he intend to do this from the moment he walked in?
Yeah, exactly. Trapped.
And more importantly, am I going to have to be the one that brings this up? These beer coolers, they may have a lot of beer, but are they fully equipped?
There should be snacks.
Wow.
You know what happens when you drink beer, at least to me, if you drink beer. How's
the plumbing in the beer cooler? That's what you're saying.
So what's going on with that for how many hours? From 11:50 p.m. to 5:50 a.m. That's 6 very long hours.
Absolutely.
In my book.
Check the rest of the stock. Make sure that
Yuck.
there's no cider around.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for ruining cider for me.
Yeah.
That's what I drink.
Certain kinds of light beer, I'm not sure you'd be able to tell.
Oh, that's why I go for Guinness all the time, just to make sure that there's no crossover.
Oh.
Don't cross the streams. Get it?
Yep.
There we are.
So that's a place either you don't want to be, or like if you're a normal person, you wouldn't want to be in a cooler overnight, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're putting someone on ice. That's not a good thing usually when people say that. But if you're in Wisconsin, maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I think it does go for mentioning that that probably has happened more often than not in Wisconsin. Just saying.
Shout out to my in-law family in Wisconsin, the Farleys. Hi, everyone. I know you're watching. Hello.
And to the Renzels also from Paul. It's a fine state. It's very pretty 4 months of the year. But seriously, no. It is you'll testify that it is a very scenery-filled state.
Very pretty.
Yeah, lots of lakes and things like that. But it gets very desolate about this time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah, this winter starts now until about May there. But that's the story from Wisconsin. This is a story from Scotland. Now, this is a place we could all agree we want to be. On a plane with no other human beings around us.
What?
Nobody in front of you, to stick their big seat back,
No crying babies, nothing.
No crying babies, unless they're my 2 grandsons. Then they'd be so adorable you wouldn't even notice. No. But no crying babies. No
germs,
no guy that may have smelled like he spent a night in a cooler, nothing.
Wow. Okay.
This 57-year-old woman was on a trip to the Isle of Crete from Scotland. She knew that the flight on this thing called Jet 2 wouldn't be packed. I guess it's normally pretty quiet, but she had no idea just how light the trip would be. It was the last flight of the season, apparently. She went to the check-in counter and she was asked to guess how many people were on the flight. Mm-hmm. And she laughed and she said, maybe 10. Was informed that just 3 people were on the flight. But as she waited at the gate, the other 2 passengers never showed up.
That's a dream. That is a dream.
Would that be awesome? And they still, for whatever reason, they had to run. They were going to run it in. It had to go back to the island of Crete. So they said to me, quote, "This is your own private jet." And thus began the 4-hour and 20-minute journey that Grieve described as the best plane ride of her life.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. But doesn't it also have all the trappings of like the beginning of a Stephen King movie.
Well, it does. I mean, you look at that picture that she tweeted there, and it is kind of, it's almost like foreshadowing.
Mhm.
Why are all of these,
No, like a
seats
Twilight Zone.
empty?
Yeah. Where did they all go?
Yeah, right. Everyone else got off the plane, but her.
You're going into another Crete dimension.
Did you have your bags checked through to the Rapture? I think it said RAP on the side of your suitcase. Is that what that meant?
That's funny.
Yeah, right. Well, she didn't have any baggage. That's why she gets to go, right? The pilot introduced herself. It was a lady pilot who introduced herself right away, chatted with me, and said the minute the seatbelt sign was turned off, feel free to run up and down the plane if I wanted to.
Wow.
And so she did.
You would have to. I mean, you would have to.
You have to skip.
At least
Absolutely.
once.
I mean, and just imagine like the pilot saying, "All right, Aaron." As we look, I mean, she said everything was. They used her name every time they'd make an announcement.
That's funny.
The pilot would point out landmarks, and at one point we flew through an electric storm. She said, and the pilot said, "Quick, run to the other side of the plane." It lit up with lightning. It was so amazing to see.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. So
she had the plane to herself. That's winning
so
the
if
lottery.
so rule of thumb, if you want to actually have that experience,
Head to Crete.
fly to Crete.
We have to be flying from Scotland to Crete, because I guess coming back then in the other direction, or it had just when it had gotten to where she was, I guess it had been full. I thought I read in the story. So.
Nobody from Scotland wants to go to Crete. Evidently, there's a boycott.
There's some bad blood there.
There's a rift.
There are a lot of
Absolutely.
conflicts in the world. A lot of conflicts. We can't solve everything. Apparently, there are a lot of conflicts in Louisiana. Now we're back to places you don't want to be. There's no debating this. You don't want to be in a Chuck E. Cheese when violence breaks out. Maybe you don't want to be in a Chuck E. Cheese
ever.
Wherever.
Is Chuck E. Cheese? Is that the same thing as Showbiz Pizza? Is that the same deal?
No, it was very, very similar. They actually evolved into it, and and sanitary, it is not.
But they were fun. Man, they were fun when you were little, though.
Absolutely.
But just Petri dishes.
And now they got the creepy animatronics, and if you know Five Nights at Freddy for the younger audience, it is literally weird. And on top of that, you have that ball pit, right?
Germs.
Yeah,
That is just a petri dish. You're right.
Herpes.
I don't get enough contact with other people's feet on a day-to-day basis. So just jump right into that ball pit.
Oh, whose Band-Aid is this?
Oh, gross.
Well, in the middle of that zesty milieu,
Oh, wow.
you spray a little pepper spray on it and see what happens.
Okay.
A woman wielding a can of pepper spray sent patrons at I believe it's Metairie, Louisiana. I don't think that's too far from New Orleans. They were in a Chuck E. Cheese. They went scrambling last Sunday night. The woman, the police report says, indiscriminately blasted, as opposed to discreetly blasting, the nearby crowd during an altercation. So she was arrested for disturbing the police. 5 adults, 2 children. Luckily, nothing too serious, but what they call exposure.
Right.
Had to be treated at the scene. Somebody notified the sheriff's office deputy who was working there at a security detail that an argument was getting out of hand. The deputy made his way toward as the story calls it, fracas. Seems a bit lighthearted for when the pepper spray comes out, but I think you're beyond a fracas at that point.
You literally have chemical warfare happening in a Chuck E. Cheese. That's what's going on.
He saw the woman indiscriminately spraying pepper spray, so she was
What is
taken
up with
into
that?
custody.
Ma'am.
So if you needed another reason, maybe to skip the Chuck E. Cheese, that would be one right. I didn't order this with pepper on it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, I tell you what. I mean, as we've gone through these stories, the phrase of the day is zesty milieu.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
I mean, every time we need to be able to pull out the word of the day, and you nailed it right there. That is fantastic.
Zesty milieu. And can you imagine if they had at that Chuck E. Cheese, I don't know about if they had a 3-way liquor license, but if they had a walk-in cooler in the back, and there's some dude that's just on vacation from Wisconsin, back there in the middle of all of this pepper spray nonsense.
And then all of the other attendees disappear. So you have a pepper-filled
on the airplane.
Chuck E. Cheese.
I bet a lot of them did disappear at the moment that the freak is
You better
broke
believe.
out.
Boom, they're gone.
I didn't say anything.
Oh.
So that's what we found for you this week on The Edge.
Fantastic. Well, we got to ask you, is this cold weather going to disappear anytime soon?
Yes, we finished up today. Will be I believe it's the 5th consecutive day of 40-degree days.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty early, even in Indiana this time of year to be getting that in late October, first day of November. But we're about to head in the other direction for a while. And it's interesting, the month of October still came in about 3 degrees above average because it was really warm. You may remember in the middle of October, so that balanced it out. We are going to get some chances of rain, though, over the next few days. The forecast with the snow that we had this morning has moved along, but rain reforms here in the afternoon and evening. Just plain rain, because the temperatures are actually going to go up overnight tonight and all the way to the mid 60s. Thursday, some showers in the morning, and then probably again late in the afternoon and the evening. Friday looks pretty good. Let's make that Saturday. Maybe if you have flex time at work, there you go. And just come in and work on Saturday. Scattered showers and storms then. Could hit 70. Sunday may turn out to be pretty decent also. We may just have showers in the morning and very late in the evening. And some more chances on Monday. And that eventually will lead us back, it looks like, to the 50s for much of next week, which would be about normal. It's the normal for the first day of November is 59. By the last day of November, the normal high is 45. So
You shut your mouth.
Things start really changing in the month of November.
Yeah,
obviously.
they do.
And we change times too next week. Or what, Sunday? Late Saturday night.
Paul, can you get on a mission to stop that? I mean, literally, can we just stop the changing of times?
Stand athwart history and yell stop.
Can you do that?
Well, you don't bring up, if you want to have an entire Edge of Indy episode to be related to the time change, good luck with that. As a lifelong Hoosier, I don't know how many.
Gosh, I mean, can't we just have one time that we're staying put?
Well, we did that for a long time in most of the state. Remember, we didn't change our clocks, but yeah, then we were Eastern time sometimes, and then Central time other times.
You know what I would also like to put on the table?
What's that?
Sunday alcohol sales. Can we get that on? Let's get that going. Let's get that going too.
It's either legal or it's not legal. Don't have 500 asterisks, in my humble opinion,
and let's have some expeditions into the beer coolers throughout the state.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's right.
Keep the doors open.
I am going to lock myself in a beer cooler Saturday night just so I can make sure that I have access to it on Sunday.
That's a way to protest right there, Paul.
That'll show them.
All right, so we're going to have a remote cam in the beer cooler with Paul next week.
That's right. Why, look.
Fantastic, Paul. Well, thank you so much, and thanks for the edgy stories. How do we find you on the interwebs?
I'll be right there at paulpoteet.com if I'm not, otherwise occupied. paulpoteet.com. Otherwise, I'm in the liquor store restroom. Knock twice.
And be armed with pepper spray.
That's right. And be armed with, just in case I need a backup.
Because he could be Paul on the edge. All right. Thanks so much, Paul, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. See you soon.
Bye-bye.